being a content creator and being good at games, I guess. Like I wanted to be good at games, and just kind of competition comes alongside that, and just over time I got into it after playing.
I never really like thought I would make the transition into esports. Like I kind of just was playing the game and just see how far I could go. And then once I hit a certain level, because like I came to bronze, I was like, oh, next is silver, oh, next is gold, and then I kind of came up all the way. And then I hit top 500, and I was like, oh, next is like open division. So that's kind of how I got into that one. Just kept scrimming, looking for teams, and kept climbing up.
What got me into esports was I don't really think that there was like a significant event. It was more so I just naturally evolved into it. And it was never like, yeah, I want to get into esports, or yeah, I want to start like playing competitively and go on stage and all this other stuff. It was more so just like I just played games that I liked a lot, and then over time I just got good enough at them to where I could start playing for teams and stuff. And yeah, here we are.
Team Fortress, I played that game and I was pretty good at it, and I competed in like a worldwide sniping league, and ended up getting picked up by like one of the best teams there. Getting recruited as a really young kid was super cool. And like I used to play on a mouse that had the ball on the thumb, and that's how I would aim, and I was good doing that. And then I got my first like real mouse that was the Razer Diamondback, and I became really good at that point at that game. And so ended up winning like the championship, and we had teams competing from like Europe and everywhere. It was a really cool thing as a kid. And then moved over to Counter-Strike with some of those guys, and ever since then I've just kind of been playing CS.
Just watching, when I first started getting the CS, I watched I think it was one of the DreamHack majors. It was like Envy versus Nip, and I just loved the crowd and everything, and just got me into, I wanted to get there one day.
So in like late 2015, I was watching some of these games, and I like really enjoyed like the atmosphere, like the casting, like the playing, everyone really just having a good time and just playing games for a living. And I really wanted to be able to do that as a living or like a future. So I put all my time into that ever since then.
I think it was when I was watching the Counter-Strike tournament from DreamHack 2013, and then I saw that you could actually make money from the game, and see, or you could play like competitively and all that stuff. So that's how I started.
I've always been obviously, a gamer, and always played a bunch of games, but in terms of actually taking it competitively, I actually used to be kind of big in the streamers community. His name was Jukebox360. He used to stream Call of Duty. And there was a few guys that I was in there that I would talk to every single night on TeamSpeak or whatever. We would always hang out, chill, play like Destiny and Call of Duty and stuff, until eventually we started playing a little bit of Counter-Strike. And at that point I'd been playing it for about a year, I would say, and we actually loaded up CEVO and started playing some CEVO scrims, which anyone who knows CEVO, it's not the most prestigious thing in the world, so we were playing pretty bad players, but every single time we'd play a CEVO scrim or something, I'd like drop 30, and they kept telling me like, dude, you're actually like sick at this game. Obviously for that level, it's still like maybe DMG, but LEM, whatever, so it wasn't like super good, but I was still destroying these guys in CEVO scrims. And at that point, I guess we actually ended up scrimming a team. I actually remember their team name was Crim.gg, and we played them on Inferno, and I'm pretty sure we lost 16-2, but I went like 22-8 or something, or sorry, 22-12 or something. So like I definitely played really well, and the other team actually just caught one of their players and picked me up because they're like, okay, this guy's like sick. And I remember in my tryout, we scrimmed Dust too, and I went 18-0 in my tryout. So they're like, okay, we're definitely picking this guy up. And then actually I think my next team, which was probably a few months later, is when I met Snakes for the first time, Ryan. So that's like what, 5 years ago almost. So I've known Snakes since he was about 12 years old.
When I first started playing Counter-Strike, I actually had no idea there was a pro scene at all. And so any esports was like, I knew nothing about. And so when I was playing Counter-Strike, I had a friend who was kind of into that stuff, but he never told me about any of it. And one day I got good enough to where he was telling me about this open team that he wanted me to join. I think he was actually in CEVO. It was CEVO Intermediate, it was his team, and he wanted me to play with him. I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. And I realized that there's like third-party like companies that hold like leagues and stuff to like compete in for money, and I was like, this is really cool. And so I started looking more into it, and then I figured out there's like a whole pro scene, like pro gamers. I had no idea what it was at the time, but I was like, dude, I want to be this. And so I like looked everything up, and I saw there was this LAN. It was ESEA season 18 LAN, the finals or whatever it was, and it was actually the first LAN I ever went to. And after I went there, like I fell in love with the whole esports scene. I like started looking to every game there was, and it was just like it was a cool experience to like be there at that LAN and see those top pros compete and everything. And I just like that's pretty much what got me into it.
So I've been playing video games my whole life. I played it with my family growing up. Competitively though, I think like I hit a certain rank on Overwatch, and then I was like, hey, this is fun, and I like playing at like a high tier. And eventually like I joined a team and I started playing competitively and scrimming, and it just kind of like snowballed after that.
See, I've played computer games all my life, but I've never actually had like a gaming computer until my sophomore year of high school, which was about so I've actually only had my own PC, like my own gaming PC, for like 5 years now. And so I've been playing them ever since then, but I've always played FPS games like since I was probably like 5 or 6, like on my home computer, but like we're talking like 20 FPS. So but yeah, so I guess I've been playing like competitively for like the last like 4 to 5 years since I got my own PC.
Honestly, I just grinded ranked. I've been playing the game since beta. And when you're consistently at high rank, people notice and you get tryouts from that. At least not it kind of happens now, but back in season 2, 3, 4, being like 4,500 is people noticed, and I got tryouts from that. Even though nothing really happened back then, but
I had like a really close relationship with some of my league friends who were like higher ups in like ranking. So I first started watching a couple of those guys like in the amateur League of Legends tournaments, and then the LCS came out, and I was sort of like super invested in that for a really long time. And then once I kind of like dropped out of League, I switched over to Overwatch for my esports kind of following, but it definitely started with League.
So when I first like was playing Overwatch, I was kind of like hard stuck around like plat or diamond, and I didn't really know why I was like at that elo. I know now, but at the time I didn't. So I decided that I wanted to join a team, and I like enrolled in like one of these tournaments where they'll like make a team for you, and I like started playing like a competitive Overwatch that way with like other like plat and diamond players. And through there and like the coaching resources that I got there, like I became more and more into like improving as a player, and then that stemmed into like watching competitive games, like professional games. And so then I started following like Contenders, and then like that was before Owl was out, so I was like following Contenders, and that sort of started the whole like oh okay, like this is like a thing where I can like follow players and teams and like cheer for things, and then I can improve as a player on my own. So that's sort of what started that, just trying to like join a team and trying to self-improve basically. So
I think I've been watching esports for a long time, ever since like the original like StarCraft scene, and then like following up with like StarCraft 2 when it came out, and then like what got me like Overwatch esports was watching like people on Twitch, like the players like XQC, like Mangachu, and then like seeing them pop off in like tournaments and stuff.
Honestly, just playing Overwatch at like a high level, I got to meet a lot of the players that were actually going pro and things like that. So I would see them in my games, and friends would message me like, "Oh my god, that's like XQC, like that's so cool," and I'd be like, "I don't know who that is." So after meeting them, I would look them up and I'd be like, "Oh my god, like I didn't know this was a thing." So that kind of like got me into esports.
I watched a lot of League of Legends when I was playing it. Actually, before that, on Dota, oh yeah, I played a little bit of scrims. You know, I practiced a little bit on some things in Dota 1, a long time ago. But I was like 14, 13 years old, so I was not good. I was just there learning, you know. So, but I learned a lot, and I think that's the start of all.
When I first started playing on PC, I came from console, and when I first started playing on PC, I was already, like doing good on my like second season after transferring. So it was just me and a couple of friends, or it was a bunch of friends actually. We were all GMs at the time, and we're all like, hey, we heard about this thing called Open Division. I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool. We can get $10 out of it. So, it was just me and my friends, and then, realizing that we needed to start scrimming and stuff like that, I'm like, oh, I should probably figure that out. And I was the only one that was like willing to do that. And then I found this whole world of managers and teams and all this, different side of gaming that I never knew, and I thought it was amazing, and I fell in love with it.
Chase Overwatch. Probably just Overwatch, to be honest. Tried to get in with Smash, tried to get in with Pokemon, didn't really happen. Overwatch was just the in route.
I started playing Overwatch with a few teams at like the amateur level, and I realized that I really hated my corporate job and that I could design logos for esports teams, and here we are.
I've been a gamer since I was 9, right? Since I got my first 2600, my Atari 2600, and I studied computers. I always wanted to make my own games, and that never really happened. I got into a technology career that wasn't related to games, and did that for a long time, over 20 years, right? And just started watching the esports industry blow up, and was definitely disillusioned with my my career, and just decided to go for it. Said, look, I think I identified what I saw as some ways the industry could improve or what it needed, and I just decided to go for it and create my own company.
So when I used to play like Counter-Strike and stuff, I just wanted to watch people like that were better than me, so I could like be better. And then I've just like watched streams ever since, and like teams and stuff. I've just been following them.